Hi Susan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
You are at the Batumi Olympiad right now. Could you tell us what is it that you are doing here?
Well, I wear a lot of hats here. I'm the chairperson of the Women's Commission. I also help the organization in various capacities as part of the media team. Also, I'm in charge of the Brilliancy Prize evaluation and award of each round's best games, as well as of the entire Olympiad.
Well, you have been to many Olympiads before as well. When was it that you stopped being a player and started as the other part of your chess career?
Well, I practically retired in 99. I haven't really played much since 96. I haven't played any rated games, although I was still in training until 1999 when the unfortunate situation happened that I didn't get the chance to defend my title because of my pregnancy. But basically I came out of retirement in 2004 and played in the Calvia Olympiad. But other than that kind of little comeback, basically I haven't played the rated game since 96.
Okay. Well, you are a very big inspiration for all the chess players, but especially women players. We would like to know a lot about, let's say, how you developed. So, can you tell us a bit about your childhood? First of all, we know that your father wanted to create chess champions. So, could you tell us a bit about it?
Well, actually, initially my father had a theory that he wanted to prove that every healthy born child is a potential genius or a very successful person, in other words. And of course, he didn't know what the subject of it should be. And coincidentally, I have found the chess pieces that I thought were very interesting and I wanted to learn more about. And he thought, well, that's perfect. You know, chess is a very fair game. It doesn't matter you're a boy or a girl. It doesn't matter how small or big you are. Anybody has a fair chance. Of course, as we learned over the years, it's a bit more complicated than that, but relatively to a lot of other fields, let's say in arts or sciences or music, where it's kind of a judgment call of others, it's a relatively fair sport. You win the game or you lose the game, right? So that's how it all started, and I fell in love with the game. My father was a very good teacher in giving his passion for the game, although he was not a serious player at all. He loved the game and he loved the beauty of the game, and he gave me that gift, and the rest is history, as they say.
Do you think that you had certain special talents when it came to chess, or was it all hard work?
I think it was mostly hard work, and having fortunate circumstances, as that my parents were very supportive, and my father being a very good teacher. He's a teacher by profession, a psychologist and teacher, and a chess fan. So with that combination, he gave me the most important tools: the passion for the game and the discipline to work hard.
But what was it that you did, like something more specific that you worked upon? Do you remember some certain things that you did?
Well, I think even though, as I said, he was not a competitive player ever, he realized how important visualization is in chess. Because anytime we sit in front of the chessboard, right, and are thinking about our move, in reality we are trying to foresee what will happen 2, 5, 10 or 20, 30 moves later in the game. So in reality, even though we are physically seeing a board in front of us, in reality we need to visualize something that we're not seeing and evaluate it correctly. So given understanding that very early on, we did a lot of exercises to improve the visualization skills, from the basic tool that you would set up first just a few pieces on the board and take them off and trying to set it back up, then later on little by little learning to play blindfold chess and all that. So it's a very important part of my upbringing and my chess development.
So there was this book called 5334 Positions which your father has written. Was it something that you guys worked upon and then it was made into a book, or How was it?
Well, actually, those were materials that I was learning on, and then I was teaching my sisters on. So actually, I was writing a large part of the book, but for various reasons, it had my father's name on it. So yeah, that was part of the training materials.
And what was the difference between you and your sisters? For how many years were you training alone, and then when did they start to work
Well,
with you?
I'm obviously quite a few years older than both my sisters. I remember changing diapers of Judith, so I was already a master level player when Judith was just starting to play chess. I'm 7 years older than Judith, and Sophia also 5.5 years older. So for them it was very natural to be curious about what I'm doing and what provides me the opportunities to go to places and all of that. So for them it was very natural to follow my footsteps. And also because we come from a rather poor family, it was a matter of convenience for my parents as well. They couldn't have afforded to have 3 different interests and support it.
So it was like your father decided that you guys have to become chess players, and you all 3 blossomed. And this question has been asked many times, that if you have to decide doing something like this, do you think it is completely crazy what was done, or was it?
No, that's not exactly what happened. So I fell falling in love with chess, and actually my father was teaching me mathematics when I was very young, like 4 or 5 years old, and I was quite advanced level in mathematics as well. And at one point when I was around 6, 7 years old, he felt that I should focus significantly more on one versus the other, because there is no real benefit to do both. And he gave me the choice. So it wasn't that he told me I have to play chess. So I chose chess over mathematics, and obviously I still continued the math throughout high school and so on, but so it was not really his choice but mine. And of course for my sisters, for them it was an attraction, as I said, that I had my coaches coming to our house, and they weren't allowed to come into the training room, not to disturb. And they were told that, well, you can go into the training room to see Susan, your elder sister, if and when you play chess. So for them it was like a teaser, and they were looking forward to it very much. And I think it was just very natural for them. They were born into it already.
Who were some of your trainers back then?
Well, I had many trainers over the many years. Obviously, my father was my first coach, and I really had a good number of other coaches. So I probably don't want to just list 1 or 2, because others may get offended. But towards the end of my competitive career, I'm very thankful to Webster, who was instrumental in the World Championship cycles and preparation. He helped me a lot. And Judith also was there with me as one of my seconds in the World Championship cycle. So I'm very thankful to both of them.
So you guys broke a lot of stereotypes, you can say. When you were young and you were upcoming, you won the medal in the Olympiad when there was USSR dominance. Yes, could you tell us something about that Olympiad, because you were young girls and you went there and you destroyed everyone?
Yeah, that was one of the most special 2 weeks of our lives, I think. It was special on many levels. Obviously, us being sisters, it's not just a country, but it's practically a family.
Yes.
And also the fact that we were very young. I was the grandma of the team with 19, and Sophia was 14, Judith 12. So that was quite remarkable that the Soviet Union has won all the chess Olympiads up to that point. And hardly anyone believed before the competition started that it's going to be any different that time, including most of the people in Hungary, including coaches, including our supporters. Had hard time believing that we have a chance. Most people that were rooting for us and were hoping we will win, they said we would immediately sign for second place. let's not even get it started. And it was literally only my sisters and I, and then my parents, of course, who believed that, no, we are going there to try to win. We're not happy with second place. And I think it was kind of a matter of attitude that for so long other countries and other teams had that mentality that let me sign for second place. The Soviets just have so much more resources, so much more support for chess, so much more training, so much more experience. They are just better than us. And they mentally gave up. And I think that was half of the success. Obviously, we were already pretty strong players as well. But if we didn't have the mentality that we're going to win, and we're not just going there to try to do well and finish in the top 3, I think that was a very important part of the success.
Do you remember who the players were in the Soviet team?
It was Chiburdanidze, of course. I don't remember the order in particular, but Levitina, Akhmilovskaya, and the fourth one is skipping my mind for a second, but it skipped my mind for a second. But yeah.
And in your team, who was one more player?
I was board 1, and board 4 was, the fourth player was Ildiko Madl.
Okay. And how did you guys get this confidence? Because it's like everyone, as you said, was signing up for the second place. Where did this confidence generate from?
I think it's from the practice, from the training we put in. My father always had the belief that the hard work will bring fruits. And also the fact that our ratings were pretty high. And those were the years when people still had this attitude. I don't know if you recall, in 1986, FIDE gave 100 free points to all women, claiming that it's easier to gain points in open tournaments. And I played mostly in open tournaments, so I got kind of punished that I was the only one who didn't get 100 free points, unlike Chiburdanidze or all the other top women players. And so they had this image that, well, even though Susan is higher rated, that's easy because she won it against men. And so people didn't believe that, but we knew that that's not the case. It's not any easier. In fact, it may be more difficult to win rating points against men. And so we just believed that I earned the ratings with hard work, with long fighting games, and if I could beat men of similar ratings, why couldn't I do equally well against women? So I think our ratings in itself gave us self-confidence, and of course also the fact that we played in many tournaments successfully, and just looked at it as another tournament with XZY rated opponents, and we were hopeful that we were going to be in good form and do well.
So was there a continuous kind of thought process that you were the people who have to break this barrier where all the men are at the top and you have to go to the top? Was that always playing in your mind when you were playing chess?
It was always somewhere in the back of my mind that I'm representing not only myself or my family, but my whole gender, because I vividly remember conversations with other top women players, and many of them literally believed that don't bother trying to become a grandmaster. It's a waste of your time and energy, and you'll just end up disappointed because you'll never get there. And it didn't as much surprise me when guys was telling that and had that attitude, that chauvinistic attitude. I thought, okay, another chauvinist, right? But I was really surprised and disappointed that a lot of WGMs also believed, they honestly believed that it's impossible. So therefore, I felt it became my mission to change that image, because I didn't see a reason why women couldn't be just as successful in a mental activity as guys do. And I worked hard for it, and I'm proud that I broke that artificial glass ceiling, and today there are a couple dozen other women who followed my footsteps, And I'm very...
You were the first one who actually made the GM title by playing in tournaments, making these 3 norms.
By fully making all the requirements, yes.
Rating.
Yes, the 2 other ladies, Georgian ladies, of course, icons of women's chess, Gaprindashvili and Chiburdanidze, they have also made some of the requirements, norms, but not, and they were, of course, women's world champions, but they haven't fully made all the requirements prior to getting their title.
So do you think that women can compete on an equal footing with men in chess, while you have yourself proved it at certain level? Right at the top, let's say 2750 or 2800 has been only one, Judith. So you are the perfect person to give us an answer to this.
Well, unfortunately, it's still a lot of inequality in chess, and there are very few women who start chess, playing chess, and there are even less who stay with chess. So that's a big problem. It's partly a numbers game. So I think it'd be really important to entice women to get to chess and stay in chess and equalize prizes. At least, for example, I see no reason why in the junior youth championships, why is there a difference? It's not a matter of serious money, it's $1,000 difference, but yet, just to make a point, there is a difference. Or even US junior championship or US championship between the girls or the boys or the men and the women, it's double. And I think it'd be really important to encourage women to see an opportunity, and I'm hoping that sometime in my lifetime there will be enough women participating and there will be enough strong women players when there may not be a need for extra encouragement. But I think at this point it'd be really important to have those opportunities for girls, because another big problem that girls and women in chess still, as of today, face, that first, there is the stigma that chess is still like a man's game. So, as I said, not that many girls start playing. Once the girls start playing and go have the family support and they go to school, they have the negative influence of the society telling them chess is not for girls. Let's say they have strong enough support from home, they overcome that. Then they go to a chess club. Once they got relatively serious and they decided, I don't care what people say, I still like chess, I want to play chess. And then in the chess clubs, it becomes yet another problem, because a lot of the girls are kind of viewed as almost like a potential trophy. And there are, again, because there are so few girls, oftentimes it's like 95-5 or worse, sometimes 99-1. And so guys are guys, and they try to compete with each other, who is the first one to take her out. While the girl is thinking just going there to play chess. And it becomes kind of a somewhat unhealthy situation. And even, I personally went through that in my teenage years.
I read that you tried to not look so great, or you would not dress up well just because you wanted to focus completely on chess.
Exactly. Exactly. A, that I don't draw extra attention, and B, that they won't accuse me that I'm trying to distract my male opponents when we play, and then blame it on I distracted them and that's why they lost. So those were two reasons. And but I think it's still a serious problem today in our society, that in many chess tournaments, especially when women are in a minority, they are literally a target of sexual harassment, even, or worse. So that's a big problem, and we're hoping to solve that, but it takes time.
What do you think would have been certain changes in your career that would have helped you to reach much higher, let's say, become the top 10 or maybe the best chess player in the world? What could you have done better?
Well, there were a number of issues. One is our family's lack of resources, financial resources. And obviously when Judith came around, we already were doing much better thanks to my successes, and things were better. That's one, but also the experience my parents had, but also the fact that basically my sisters, especially Judith, had kind of a free in-house coach. I was, as I said, already a master level player when she just started. So those were just some of the important things. Of course, other things that held me back was when, as I mentioned earlier, FIDE gave 100 points to all women. I said, how is this possible? You know, how is this fair? Or later, when I qualified as the first woman to play in the World Championship cycle from the National Championship, and I was told that I cannot play because I'm a woman. So there were a combination of things, obviously, that held me back. And then at one point, after I won my fourth World Championship title in '96, I felt I can do more in chess in other ways, and I opened my chess center, chess school, and started to promote the game worldwide, and then later started SPICE.
Yes. Yeah, I would like to come to that, but before that, one last question on your childhood, and this was that you would work with Judith, and what was it in her that made her such a strong player, according to you?
Well, she was fearless. If I have to kind of answer it shortly, that she was fearless, and she had tremendous self-confidence, and she had great passion for the game. So I think the combination of those three, definitely, being super passionate, super focused, and fearless.
So you trained really hard since your childhood, and now you are training other people in your SPICE Academy and also SPICE Institute, also in the UTD college, yes?
Not UTD, Webster.
Sorry, Webster College.
University.
You are in Webster. So in this way, how do you use what you have learned already when you were a young player and apply it now, or have the methods completely changed?
Well, obviously I learned a lot over the last 45 years that I'm in chess, and I'm applying all my experience, what works, what doesn't work. But ultimately I think the secret of our success at SPICE is that we have very individualized attention to each student. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And each student has a different problem, and I'm working with each of them on their strengths and weaknesses and help them in whatever way they need help. And it can be very different from one student to another.
So how is SPICE Institute different from the training program at Webster? Can you explain it to us?
Well, SPICE is part of Webster.
Okay.
So Webster University is hosting SPICE.
So all the people who come to Webster University get enrolled under the SPICE Institute, yes?
So basically all the students who come to SPICE are students at Webster University. They're regular students. They pick a choice of their major, whether psychology or finance or economy or whatever their interest is. So they have to study that normally. And then additionally they train in chess and play for our chess team.
Well, I saw some of the things that you guys do. It is more like sometimes you are doing push-ups and then making a move on the board. How did you come up with all of these training techniques?
I really believe that being physically fit is very important for chess players because, as you know, long games can go very long and very tiresome. And in the United States, in fact, most tournaments would have 2 games a day. So it's really physically straining and mentally demanding. So I really believe that being physically fit as well is a very important part of being successful in chess. And therefore, we have it as part of our weekly training routine to have 2 or 3 times a week we have chess fitness, which we use big chess pieces and have physical exercises in between each move.
It's always some new ideas that you have to bring into to make it exciting.
Absolutely. Having the team members motivated is, of course, a very big part of a coach's job.
Well, in India, one of the biggest problem is how to balance your chess with education, and I'm sure many other places as well. But you are in a university where people have to study as well and maintain their chess level. I see most of the players also improve at chess. So how do they balance this, and how can a student who is moving along this path balance the 2 things?
Well, I think it's a matter of time management. The day is long, and one of the problems for today's youth is that they waste a lot of time on social media or on video games or on just, I don't know, watching sitcoms or, you know, different things. There are plenty of ways to waste time. And, you know, if you're actually focused, you know that you have to go to class, you have to do your homework, then you have chess training. We provide an environment at SPICE that kind of have a more structure, more organized way. And also the fact that we have usually anywhere between 8 to 10, 12 grandmasters on campus. So they are practically in a training camp all year long. And that's one of the issues for a lot of chess players, that if they want to train with another colleague, another grandmaster, they need to go somewhere, they have to have a special camp and so on. While here it's really up to each of the students to just schedule with the other students around their classes, around their homework, and they can work extra. So a number of our students, I know they told me that they spend about 30 hours a week on chess.
And coming to your husband, Paul Trong, can you tell us his role and contribution in your career, and how do you work together?
Yeah, I was very fortunate to meet Paul. Actually, we first met back in the mid-1980s, a long time ago, when he was one of the top junior players in the United States as a new immigrant from Vietnam. And at the time we just became friends and went kind of on our different ways. I continued with chess while he started a professional career. And then our paths crossed again many years later. And I convinced him to come back to the world of chess, and we started the US Women's Olympiad training program in 2003, and then had the Golden Team in 2004, where for the first time the US won Olympic medals in chess for women. We won the team silver, and I won several gold medals on individual basis as well. So that's how kind of I brought him back to chess, and then we started working together on various projects with my chess center and chess promotion in general, in social media, and eventually, so then we started to get involved with social media and chess promotion in general, and then the idea of SPICE came about, and that we already, by the time SPICE came about, we just got married. And it's a beautiful dream that we're living, and we're very honored that we have the opportunity to help so many young lives, that change their lives. It's literally, practically for all of our students, it's a life-changing experience. Many of them grew up basically just playing chess and not so much focusing on other things. And here they combine expanding their horizon, getting an education in the United States, and at the same time continuing developing in their chess. Of course, two of our most proud students are Ray Robson of the United States, who came to us as a freshman, as a student, and gained about 90 points while he was in our program. And Wesley So, who was kind of stagnating around the mid-2650s for 3 years prior to coming to SPICE, to Webster University. And he gained 110 points and entered to the top 10 in the world, number 8, when he left our program and became a fully professional chess player. So we're very proud of them, as well as others. For example, Manuel Leos Hoyos, who is a Mexican grandmaster, reached his peak as a chess player above 2600 while in our program, and then he decided he rather wants to focus on a professional career and finished with a master's degree with us in economics and MBA, and currently is working at Yale University. So we have a lot of success stories, both within chess as well as through chess, giving them career opportunities elsewhere in other fields.
You mentioned about Wesley and 2650, he was stagnated and then he went to nearly 2750 beyond.
Beyond, yes.
How did you help him to break that barrier and improve? Because at that level, improvement is really tough.
Well, it was a combination of things. First of all, he needed raising his self-confidence. I worked with him individually and on his specific problems, which I prefer not to reveal. And also, I think that he got more well-rounded, learning other things as well. And I think he had a more complete view that helped him through chess as well.
How many hours in a day do you work?
Do I work?
Yes.
It depends on the day, but many times it's 16, 18-hour days.
Really?
Yeah.
How are you able to maintain this? You will turn nearly 50 next year. I mean, how do you manage to have so much energy?
I'm sure part of it is that I try to keep physically fit and I exercise, and I think that gives me extra energy and strength.
And where do we see you in the next few years? You have this SPICE program running really well in the Webster University. What's next for you? Do you have some plans in mind?
Well, that's probably in the near future for sure. It's going to continue, and we'll see what life brings. You never know. But I'm hoping to continue fighting for women's equality in chess, and my dream is to equalize prizes for women and give more and more opportunities to young girls, women, and of course guys as well who come to Webster SPICE.
Well, because you are a torchbearer and you have broken so many records in your life, we would like to ask you for a final message that you would like to give to the women players, more specifically. What would be the message to them?
Well, don't get intimidated from the guys. That's the most important, the attitude. Now I'm glad to see there are some women who stand up and are not afraid of the guys, but not enough of them. And set your goals high. So I think those are the two most important things. Don't get intimidated when guys try to discourage you, and set your goals high.
Thank you so much, Susan. It was a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure.